Good morning, my good people. Let's rise and pray. Okay, listen, this is what God gave me to share. Last night, God gave me something as I was journaling, and I asked God, did He want me to release it? And He said, no, now it's not time to release it. So, let me tell y'all this. There is a time and a season for certain things that God give you to be released. Don't be out here doing stuff all willy-nilly on your own accord or whatever the case may be, because if you release something and it's not the time or season for it, then guess what? You gonna have to deal with God. You truly gonna have to deal with God about it. Do not release anything unless God tells you it's okay for you to release it. There is a big problem with people on these social media apps that are just out here either looking at somebody else's profile, copying their stuff, or they're listening to what they're saying. They go back and they reword it on their own and all this. It's a bunch of craziness. So even when God's people that He has chosen to do such things as release, they get a word from Him and release it to the people. You have people out here pretending like it's them giving the word, when God's people know it has to come from God to them, and then they release it to the people. So if God ain't giving you something to release to people, do not be releasing it. And anyway, when God is giving you something, you need to be asking Him, is this the time I can release this word? And if it's not the time, I don't care if God gave you that word 20 years ago. If it's not the time, it's not the time. But there will be a time that you will be releasing that word. So don't keep falling for the okie doke. Because if y'all paying attention, like if you really open your eyes and open your ears and listen, look and listen, and be aware, it's gotten to the point where if somebody video pops up on my FYP and I'm just scrolling, I can hear them and I'm looking at them as they speak, and already discernment kicks in. God says keep scrolling. They're not real. So that's why I'm telling y'all, this is why you don't have to get on these social media outlets and argue with people about who's real or who's fake. Because God, if you truly for God and you truly a servant of God, then guess what? You ain't gonna have to argue with nobody about you being real or fake, or them being real or fake. God is gonna let you know, and He gonna tell you keep scrolling. Know why He told me to keep scrolling? Because it's His job to deal with them. Not mine, not yours. Same thing with releasing a word. If it ain't the time for you to release that word, do not release a word up on your own accord. You will be in trouble with the Father. Do not be releasing words from God just because you want to get out there and put a word out there. Do not do it. If it ain't the season and it ain't God's timing, don't do it. Because the word that God gave you, it might be for this time, or it might be for another season. So be careful, y'all. Do not be out here doing things all willy-nilly on your own, operating out your flesh. If God didn't tell you to release it, shut up. Journal it. That's all you can do. Hush. Pray on it. Pray on the word. Journal it. Make a video on it. However you save it. But save it. Because Now may not be the time for you to release that specific word. But when it is time for you to release that specific word, God will remind you of that word so you can now release it. Okay? I love y'all. I pray you have a blessed day. And remember, be obedient. Ask God first before you be releasing these words.